Hello and welcome back. My name is Tom, and some of you might know me as Bowl of Salmon on Instagram. Today we are taking a trip back to the German town of Glashütte. We are gonna have a closer look at one brand that has been on my radar for a long time, and in my opinion is seriously underrated. That brand is Glashutte Original. A while ago I reached out to Glashutte and asked if I could pick two watches. The Glashutte CQ Diver and the Panoreserve. Two models that obviously have a different aesthetic but show the versatility of the brand. I was originally going to do just one video, but I like these so much and they are obviously so different that I'm going to split the video into two parts. And today we're going to start with the watch that has been living rent-free in my head ever since I got hands-on with it, and probably maybe just made it to the top of my wish list. The blue Panoreserve in stainless steel. I know, I'm a tool watch guy, but I have to grow up eventually, right? The Panoreserve is a part of their Pano collection and is available in a range of different colors. There is grey, white, blue dials, and in terms of materials, we have steel, rose gold cases, and even platinum. This one receives his name because of the power reserve indicator on the dial. But if we have a look at the siblings, there is the panomatic lunar with a moon phase, the pano inverse that showcases the movement components on the dial instead of via the exhibition case back, and there's even more crazy stuff like the panomatic calendar, a pano lunar tourbillon, and a panograph that houses a flyback chronograph. There is no shortage of choices and complications here. If you mention Glashutte Original to me, this is the collection that first jumps to mind. And they all share a similar case shape and asymmetrical dial layout. Yes, I did cover the golden ratio in a previous video, and when you mention the Glashutte Original, a lot of people will refer to the Lange 1 in the same sentence, but I don't think that is fair. The quality and craftsmanship put into these watches is insane. Now, make no mistake, Glashutte Original is a luxury brand, and the watch we are reviewing today is around 11,000 euros, but I think there is no other brand out there that gives you this quality and finishing at this price point. And I know they are owned by the Swatch Group, but when I see brands like Omega, Rolex and Zenith, I see these massive corporate structures, but with Glashutte Original, it just feels like a small charming business with that rich tradition of German watchmaking, if that makes sense. Okay, let's go over some specifications. The watch has a case diameter of 40 mm, there's a case height of 11.7 mm. It has a sapphire crystal and it is water resistance up to 5 bar. I have 16.5 cm wrist and I just like wearing watches around 40 up to 42 mm. They just sit better on my wrist. Now for a dress watch, maybe 40 mm is 1.5 mm shy away from the perfect 38.5, and maybe part of me wishes it was, but I don't dislike it at this size either. Like I said, this just feels great on my wrist. It doesn't feel like a dainty dress watch, and that is exactly what I'm looking for to ease my transition into dressier pieces. While based on the looks, I think the moon phase has a more balanced dial, but that houses an automatic movement and adds an extra millimeter to the case height. For this, and excuse the better lack of a term, hockey puck case design, 11.7 has the perfect weight distribution and center of mass, and it still slides under the cuff perfectly. The top of the lugs and the top side of the case are polished, the side of the case and lugs have been brushed. Again, for me personally, these brushings help me ease into the idea of owning a dress watch more. The watch is available on either a steel bracelet, the alligator strap, or with a synthetic blue strap, and it's exactly the last combination that won me over and made me consider this watch for myself. The lone piece came in on the alligator strap with a deployant clasp, and that clasp alone shows just how much attention to detail Glashutte has. There is a mix of brushed surfaces, beveled edges, polished sides. The leather feels super premium, but let's face it, that's not my style. So I put their OEM fabric strap on, and that just felt like coming home. It is super comfortable to wear, and I think this opens up the whole range to a younger and perhaps more adventurous audience that otherwise wouldn't consider these watches. The dial color on this is galvanized blue. The dial itself is a very fine matte surface that again takes away a bit of that over-the-top dress watch feel for me, and that's a good thing. The golden ratio is applied to the placement of all the elements on the dial, bringing harmony to an asymmetric dial layout. On the left half of the dial we find the hour and minute indicator, surrounded by the applied silver indices. The hands are white gold and have super luminova inlays. On the same vertical axis there is the second subdial. Both dials have this final type decorative pattern that plays with the light. On the top right there is the white gold hand that acts as a power reserve indicator. Auf meaning full and ab meaning empty. When the watch is fully wound, it has a power reserve of 42 hours. At the lower right we find the signature panorama date indicator with a matching subdial. This is the best looking date window and the best executed date window on any watch, period. They are color matched and the numerals are put onto two separate discs that are placed on the same level. If you are wondering why Lange has this vertical bar splitting the date window, that is a bit of a party trick to hide the fact that they are not on the same level. If we turn over the watch, we get to see a masterclass in German watchmaking. The watch is powered by an in-house manual Glashütte factory movement. The thing that you will notice is the typical 3/4 plate. All over the plate we have the Glashütte striping, that is the German counterpart to the Côte de Genève or the Geneva waves. We can also see more decorative elements like the blued screws, the beveled edges and the polished steel parts. This plate is a fine example of German engineering. The movement is assembled and put into place before the plate is added. This makes it harder to assemble, but it is more sturdy. That beautiful double swan neck regulator is another fine example of German over-engineering, and it enhances the precision of the movement even more. It is just one beautifully finished part of the movement. The balance bridge that shows the gold relief is hand engraved. This little part of the movement alone is what makes me want this watch. Mechanical watchmaking is a technical feat, but when it's combined with the craftsmanship like this, it just completes the story. I consider Glashütte to be a hidden gem. An attainable outsider, because you don't see them everywhere all the time. And that is a big part of why I want this watch in my collection. It has a story to tell, it has history, it's an example of beautiful watchmaking and craftsmanship. And just because I think it's so darn pretty. What do you guys think of the brand or watch? And do you think it would make sense in my collection? If you haven't yet, please take a minute to like and subscribe to help me face the algorithm gods. Pretty soon we're gonna have a look at another watch from the Glashütte collection, and that is their CQ Diver in reed green. And I promise I got some more content lined up. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.